Right.
Okay, good evening, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Complete Sports Media's podcast. I'm your host, Darren Campbell, coming to you live from the Complete Media Network. And our regular guest Monday is Jason Cameron. Super happy, really excited. This is going to be a phenomenal podcast. Cannot wait. How's it going, buddy?
It's going well. It's going good. Today, I was able to avoid the torrential downpour that happened at a couple times during the day. So I'm actually quite happy about that. Very, very happy.
Nice. Yeah, me too. I avoided. I'm on a nice long weekend here, 4 days off. Really enjoying it. Can't wait for another day tomorrow. It was really great to see you this weekend. We had a phenomenal time getting together, watching the UFC at a new place called GPO. Pretty cool. I'm glad we did that. It sure made the UFC fun. It was great to get together.
Yes, it was great to get together with you and our other friend Keith. It was a good night of fights all around. It was actually a great night of fights, man. Great night of fights.
Well, it sure was. I can't wait to break them down. It's going to be a lot of fun to check it out. UFC 266, they really stacked the card. They put a ton of fights that they thought were going to be good, and turned out that they were really right. The matchmakers were on par and on point, and it was fun. It was really fun.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. The matchmakers got it right this time around. The main event was awesome. Yeah. It was awesome. A lot of fights were very, very good. Very great fights. Great night of fights.
As I was getting together today, trying to put this together, I was thinking about you and me and how similar we are. We have the same job. We have the same love of sports. We also have the same love of food, and we don't cook. And I thought we should kind of add a little segment every year or every podcast. I mean, maybe get a food sponsor or something like that, and try to highlight some of the great foods that we love and we can find out there. I was impressed with what I ate at GPO. I'm going to try to put them on my food and beverage site and give a shout out to them for hosting us. That was great. You had some amazing nachos there. What else did you have this weekend that you can point out as a great meals over the weekend? Do you remember?
Well, I would say this: GPO, great nachos. They did something with their chips, like where I think they seasoned them somehow, like so that the actual chips themselves, whereas it was just so good. Nice. So much better than just your normal tortilla chip. It was really good. Right?
Awesome.
Another thing that I've eaten during this weekend would be one of my favorite sushi spots. I like to go to Sushi Bang. It's kind of close to the Cambie Street Bridge. Okay. Great little sushi spot. Very affordable. I love that place.
Cool.
You know what? I'm just going to stop it right there. I'll give you more stuff later.
Yeah, well, let's hope we can get some kind of restaurant to sponsor us, and then we can get some free food. We're lucky we get free food on a daily basis through our jobs, but on the weekends, it's always nice to have somebody else cook for you. And I know how much you appreciate food. I don't know, my love of sports and my love of food sometimes really is about even. What about you? Do you think you love food more than sports, or sports more than food?
Why would you make me make that choice? Why would you do that? That's. Oh, how about this? I'll put it to you like this: I need food to live, so I'm going to take food, but I also need sports to enjoy my living. Food just edges out sports.
Okay.
Just.
All right.
Because it's survival.
Okay. Well, maybe I'll have you on as a guest for the food site as well, and we'll really dig into your love of food and all the things that you do love. And I know you have a huge amount of Tupperware that you bring around to make sure you get extra food whenever people invite you over. So yeah, very smart man, making sure that you're going to be stuffed for the entire week every time you get a chance to go out.
That's the deal. If you invite me over, I'm taking most of that food with me. And that's what it is. I remember at one point in time, one of my friends said, "But Jason, I got kids," and I go, "But you also have a full fridge of food. You're gonna be fine."
You're hilarious. That's hilarious. Yeah. So yeah. Okay. So as I said, amazing. It was fun to get together. A lot of great football as usual. Lots of people are talking about the big NFC East matchup tonight. Whoever wins this game will be the only team over 500 in this division and leading it like last year. Pretty sad division. I think it was Washington that won it, 7-9, I think they were. And yeah, it was pretty bad. Cowboys are putting a stomping on the Eagles so far, 27-7, 11 minutes left in the third.
Yeah. It doesn't look good for the Eagles whatsoever at all. I don't know if they have the capacity to come back at this point, but there's still a lot of time left in the game. So I guess we'll see.
Yeah.
Question mark?
Yeah. Well, the Cowboys defense was super horrible last year. 473 points they allowed, most in team history. They've had their first 6 players that they picked on defense this year, and we talked about that last week. Finally addressing some big concerns that they had, but tonight really the biggest story is Ezekiel Elliott's finally let loose. He's got a couple touchdowns. 12 for 73 with 2 TDs. Nice to see him finally getting the rock and getting that opportunity to show that he's still got it.
Yes, exactly. And also too, like obviously the offensive line is doing their job, making the holes for him to run through. And yeah, it's just nice to see Zeke being Zeke and getting off. I haven't seen that for a while.
Yeah. Eagles making a ton of mistakes. They're averaging 11 penalties per game, most in the NFL. They have 0 points on offense today, and the Cowboys defense has been outscoring them. Jalen Hurts has a couple turnovers through 2 picks, and it's not looking too good for the Eagles offense right now. Jalen Hurts isn't getting a ton of time to unleash the ball, and it's crazy how the Cowboys could turn around that defense so fast.
Yeah, it is crazy, but also too, I guess maybe owner Jerry Jones has listened to somebody that said, "No, our defense, Jerry, not great. So maybe we want to address that. Like our offense is going to be good. It's good now. So defense, right?
Just focus on that. Yeah,
focus on that.
Yeah, this is the 27th primetime meeting of these two, and the last one was really famous for Deshaun Jackson catching a huge touchdown pass, getting the ball and running, and just before the end zone, he just tosses the ball down, and he didn't cross the plane, didn't count as a touchdown. Everybody was like, "What the hell was that?" It was a really, really sad move, and I didn't realize that was the last time they had played a primetime game.
Yeah. That was a horrendous error on his part, like just utterly horrendous. Where it's just like, no, you're supposed to keep the ball in your hands until you cross the plane, and that is a touchdown. Like,
yeah.
But at least in Jackson's, he learned from that, because he had a long touchdown today, and guess what he didn't do? He didn't throw the ball away.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. This weekend he made up for it. He finally got his first touchdown of the year, and it was another just severe bomb that he ran under and caught for a long TD. And I think he learned his lesson. There was a great halftime ceremony. 3 Hall of Fame Cowboys that just got inducted were all honored at halftime. Jimmy Johnson, Cliff Harris, and Drew Pearson. Nice to see and remember some of the old good Cowboy days, and great that all 3 of those guys were inducted and honored by their team today.
Yeah, that's fantastic to see. It's always fantastic to see when guys get that honor and they go into the Ring of Honor and stuff, and those 3 are very deserving of said honor.
Yeah. The Cowboys have been decimated by a bunch of injuries and some guys not able to play. This news just came out today, and it was pretty strange. Their defensive tackle, Leo Collins, has been given a 5-game suspension. he was trying to bribe the test collector for doing drug tests. He had missed some multiple tests previously and decided that he wasn't going to pass this test, so he was going to try to bribe the collector to allow his friend to give him the sample, and he got told on. He is in big trouble here. He's trying to appeal the sentence, but I don't see it being reduced. It's not something to take lightly, and he must be dirty if he's doing something like this.
How are you going to go for an appeal when you were caught red-handed? What is there to appeal?
Yeah.
Like there's literally nothing to appeal. It's like, no, man, like this is what you did. So now you have to take responsibility for your actions.
Yeah.
That's it.
Pretty tough. They have to miss their defensive tackle. Hopefully one of their draft picks can fill in and help them out. But crazy story coming out today in Big D. Last night's game was phenomenal. We had another primetime classic. Aaron Rodgers and Jimmy Garoppolo went mano a mano, and it was really fun to watch. When the Niners scored that touchdown, 37 seconds left, you thought, they might be able to pull this off, but Rodgers found Devontae Adams with two long bombs, set up the field goal, and Mason Crosby comes out, wins the game for Green Bay. And that early first week blowout that they had seems like distant memory now. It looks like Green Bay's on track and got a huge win yesterday.
I guess Rodgers was right. It's just one game. Yeah, I think we're going to be fine. Yeah, it looks like he was right. And Rodgers went to Adams all night.
Yeah.
That last night, all night.
Oh, yeah.
12 receptions for 132 yards, one touchdown. They couldn't stop him. Like the 49ers D couldn't do anything to that guy because you kind of knew where the ball was always going to go. And yet the ball always just got there, like
crazy.
And there was one pass that Rodgers made that even I was just like, okay, that's not even right. That's just silly.
Yeah.
Where he not only got it past the guy that was rushing past him who almost took the ball, he also got out past the outstretched linebacker's hand and dropped it back shoulder to Devontae Adams.
Yeah.
With a perfect catch. Like it was just like, okay.
Perfection, he's just got such touch, and he just can deliver it exactly where he wants to. It's a phenomenal thing, and that's why most people say that he's one of the greatest quarterbacks to ever play. Only having one Super Bowl. There was a lot of problems in this off season, but looks like things have been mended, and he seems to be back on top, doing really, really good things and helping that team win. 37 seconds left. You think, I don't know, is that enough time? But bam. I couldn't believe he could find Adams. I was shocked that they did double and triple team that guy because most of the other guys just aren't the same. So it was kind of crazy.
Well, maybe the 49ers thought this is the time that we'll get Devontae. We'll get him this time. No, actually you won't. Actually, you will not get him this time. And also too, Rodgers is kind of a little bit like, he's kind of like Brady. He's kind of like those top guys where it's like, ooh, 37 seconds. That is way too much time for me. Oh, thanks a lot, guys.
Yeah, no kidding. It was crazy that they left that much time. I don't think they wanted to score quite then, but Jurczyk just grabbed the ball and rumbled in and went, oh shoot, we gave him too much time. And poor Niners. They must have broke the hearts of all the Niners fans, but that's what the Packers do, and Aaron Rodgers have done for many years. We have a football GOAT, and we talk about him. It seems like every week we talk about Tom Brady, but there is another football GOAT that has been playing, and he's the kicker for the Baltimore Ravens, Justin Tucker. Absolutely has had a phenomenal career. 50 field goals in a row in fourth quarter or overtime. He set a NFL record with a 66-yard field goal yesterday to get the victory, bouncing it off the crossbar into the netting to give him the win. Mr. Automatic, absolutely phenomenal career. And it's kind of cool to see two GOATs in football playing right now.
Yeah, it is phenomenal. I think he has the highest field goal percentage too of makes or whatever in the history of the NFL. And he showed why he's so good. 66 yards, man. Like, that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
How do you even generate that much power to get it there? And also too, with the correct spin. So it can hit the crossbar and bounce in. Like it's absolutely incredible. What a win for the Ravens. What a win, man.
Oh man, that was amazing. Yeah, what a kick, what a victory. And he is phenomenal. He's hit out of those 50 straight field goals in fourth quarter overtime, he's had 21 40 plus and 7 50 plus, and then this 66 yarder. There was a 68-yard attempt yesterday that fell woefully short, and we'll get to that in a few minutes. But congratulations, Justin Tucker. He just set that bar even higher, and there's no doubt now that you are the greatest of all time kicker. So pretty wild. Let's start in the NFC West like we normally do. I mentioned the Niners early. They fall to 2-1 on the season now. Jimmy G, he looked really good in that second half. He was 25 for 40 for 257 yards and a couple touchdowns. His backup quarterback, Trey Lance, came in and ran for a short touchdown run. Trey Sermon got a TD run. Brandon Ayuk had a touchdown. And then that Jusek touchdown landed in the end zone. But as we said, 37 seconds left to go. The Packers, it's crazy how they turned it around after that opening week loss. I can't believe how good Aaron Rodgers looks right now.
Yeah, he looks spectacular, but maybe that's just the thing. We will like overemphasize the loss, where in that locker room they're just like, sometimes it happens, whatever. And they're not overemphasizing the loss. They're just like, well, just a bad game, but we're a good team, so we're gonna bounce back from that, which they did, which they have.
They sure did, yeah. Okay, so 49ers turn around and host the Seahawks in the late window Sunday in an NFC West showdown. The other two in the division also face each other. The Rams will host the Cardinals, and they're both undefeated at 3-0. It's a great division. I can't believe the Seahawks are last. Not too good start so far, but let's talk about the other undefeated team there. The Rams had a huge victory over the defending Super Bowl champion Tampa Bay Buccaneers, 34-24. Man, they look good. I think they're one of the teams that people are starting to say can really compete for the conference championship. That was a really big statement win.
Huge statement win. Like, the Rams are good on both sides of the ball. They're just that good. And getting Stafford looks like that's what's put them over the top. Yeah. Like that, maybe that was their one missing piece, was this guy, Matthew Stafford, that, we got buried in Detroit and kind of people forgot just how talented he is. But now we're beginning to remember, oh no, he's actually pretty good. He's actually pretty good. And so what did Stafford go? 27-38, 343 yards and 4 TDs. 4 TDs.
Yeah.
Not bad.
Amazing. Yeah. That connection with him and Cooper Kupp is phenomenal. Cooper was 9 for 96 with a couple touchdowns. We mentioned Deshaun Jackson. He broke out with 3 catches for 120 yards in that big TD. He's got a great tight end in Tyler Higbee, who had a touchdown pass. Sony Michel had 23 touches, 20 on the ground and 3 in the air. Really, really, really good. And then they got Jalen Ramsey and Aaron Donald on defense. Tom Brady was great, but just couldn't seem to get these drives to get touchdowns like the Rams were getting. Look at Brady's numbers: 41 for 55, 432 yards and a touchdown. And he was their leading rusher, which is probably not a good thing. That was kind of shocking to see him get a touchdown and also lead the backfield in rushing yards.
Yeah, that was kind of shocking because he's not what you would call fleet of foot. You know what I mean? So, but the other thing that really stood out to me in the Rams win was they did not turn the ball over.
Right.
They didn't turn the ball over, so they didn't give Brady a chance to score off any turnovers whatsoever, which I think helped contribute to their win.
Yeah. I'm not sure what was wrong with Leonard Fournette. 3 for 26. He just wasn't there. Ronald Jones was only 5 for 11. Actually, Fournette was 4 carries for 8 yards through the air. He was 3 for 26. Their running back Giovanni Bernard had 9 catches for 51 yards and a touchdown, but really weren't getting anything going on the ground. Godwin had a TD. Mike Evans had 106 yards through the air. Gronk was 4 for 55. Pretty good offensive performance, but they just weren't matching those touchdowns and took the 34-24 loss. Tampa Bay play the Patriots next. Tom Brady gets to go home and try to rub it in Bill Belichick's face next Sunday night. So a week yesterday in the night game. And he is only 68 yards away from becoming the all-time passing yards leader. He's going to pass Drew Brees. Kind of cool that he gets to do it in front of those fans that were cheering for him for his entire career before he went to Tampa Bay.
Yes, it's poignant, actually, that he's going to do this in New England. Yeah, he's in a different jersey, but, I'm sure the fans will still honor and respect the fact that he's doing it on their field.
Yeah.
They probably won't honor and respect the fact that they'll probably get beat, but they'll like the fact that Tom Brady's going to get that respect and that. Yeah,
I can see that being one of the biggest tributes ever. They're going to be able to play so many highlights from an incredible career, the greatest of all time. All these Super Bowl victories, all these huge wins in the playoffs, an amazing array of wins and domination of a couple of decades. It's going to be probably hard to cut down the video tribute that they want to show at halftime for him.
Yeah, because how do you get all those accolades into one video session without it being like, well, we probably got a half hour full of stuff. Okay. We got a half an hour of content. But it's just a testament to just how great he is at his position of quarterback. Like, it's just a testament that, no, I'm literally the best. There'll probably never be anybody like me ever again. I can actually probably say that. You'll probably never see anything like this ever again.
No, yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah, exactly. I don't think it actually will be at halftime. It'll probably be early on when he comes out. They'll probably stop the game and just have a little bit of a tribute to him. I don't see any boos happening. Do you? Why would you boo a guy that's done so much for your organization? I know that some of these tributes sometimes was bad blood and animosity, and they left and abandoned their team. LeBron James comes to mind. They're burning his jerseys. But do you see any New England Patriots fan booing this guy? Why would you?
How could you? No, seriously. How could you do that? Like, you won 6 Super Bowls. 6. Hey, no, he's untouchable. You can't boo him. All you can do is praise him. Like, you pray to him like a god. That's what you're supposed to do. That's it. That's it.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. So, okay. Well, that was a phenomenal game. As I said, the Rams play the Cards next Sunday. All 4 NFC West teams will face each other. It's going to be, it's going to be fun to watch that shake out. The Seattle. Let's just talk a little bit about the Cards now. They faced the Jags. The Jags actually made a big trade today. Did you hear about the trade?
No, I did not.
The Jags were lacking in tight end, so they traded their corner CJ Henderson for Dan Arnold. They needed a tight end for Trevor Lawrence. CJ Henderson was picked number 9 overall last year. In his rookie year, he only played 8 games. He had some injury troubles. He has a groin injury currently, but by all accounts, they think this guy's going to be a phenomenal talent going forward. And they really needed to make a replacement. They lost a player last week to injury, and so they wanted to make the Carolina Panthers, needed to make an acquisition and fill in their position there. And pretty big trade. Dan Arnold is a good tight end. I think he was number 3 overall in yards last year. And I think it was big for Jacksonville. Sad that he has to go to a team that's not going to win much, leaving a team that's undefeated so far. Those are always tough moves to see for guys.
Yeah, that's super tough for him. But at least I guess Trevor Lawrence has a safety net, so to speak, with him now being his new tight end.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it's not going to add up to, it won't be world breaking. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's not going to be change their fate, so to speak. I think the Jags are still going to be the Jags, and they're not going to be very good this year.
Yeah, that was their 18th straight loss. They lost 31-19 to Arizona. They were leading this game early. At the end of the first half, Arizona decided to go for that 68-yard field goal that I mentioned earlier. It was short. It was grabbed right in the end, back of the end zone, and the guy returned it 109 yards to tie the record for longest return. Jackson went into the halftime leading and really feeling good about themselves, but Kyler Murray and the Cards came out, dominated that second half and took the victory.
Yeah, well, you know what? Agnew again with a spectacular return. That kid is fun to watch, but unfortunately, they're still the Jacksonville Jaguars, and they did not do anything in the second half of that game. And Murray came out and said, "Yep, okay, enough of that. Let's put this team away." Went 28 for 34, 316 yards with a rushing TD. Green had 112 yards receiving, and Kirk had another 104 yards receiving. They had a great game.
Yeah, and James Conner finally got on track. A couple of touchdown runs on 11 carries. DeAndre was held in check, which isn't usually the case. He only had 3 catches for 21 yards, but they didn't need him. Trevor Lawrence, it's tough. It's tough going in when you're number 1 overall pick. You're going to a team that's, the worst team in the NFL. He's hopefully not getting some PTSD troubles, and won't. I'm sure this is probably the most he's ever lost already in his football career. He had another couple picks. Just didn't look super comfortable yet, and I don't know if they have a scheme yet to figure out how to utilize him better. But it's tough when you're so highly touted. You come from usually a team that's undefeated. You're winning the Heisman, and then you go to the worst team in the NFL, and they expect you to be the savior and turn it around immediately. It's not going to be the case here.
Yeah, it's a tough position to be in because you're still a rookie. You're still kind of feeling your way around the league. You're just not going to be spectacular like you were in college, because now that you're in the pros, it's a pro game and it's a different game altogether. So he's going to take his lumps. Well, heck, he might take his lumps for a long time here, but eventually he'll get to a point where he'll feel comfortable.
Yeah. There have been 11 starts for rookie QBs this year, and there's only one victory. Mac Jones from the Patriots beat the Jets rookie Zach Wilson. So far, not very good for any of the rookie QBs. Last year, we had Justin Herbert have a phenomenal year. Joe Burrow had a really great year until he got hurt. This year, these guys just don't seem to be able to get some victories. And and sort of establish themselves as the new up and comers quite yet.
Yeah, it's going to take these guys some time because like their teams are, unfortunately, they're not very good either. They're just not very good. So it's going to take some of these rookies. They're just going to have to take their growing pains with a little bit of grace here and just be patient with it. It's going to have to be patient.
That's the way it has to go. Yeah. Thursday night, the Jags play the Bengals. They've been able to create some really good primetime matchups this year. Not sure if this one's going to have the same sort of cachet as these others, but that's what we have for the Thursday nighter. So the last team in the NFC West is the Seattle Seahawks. Not used to seeing them on the bottom of the division, but they took another loss as the Vikings beat them 30-17. The Seahawks are giving up a huge amount of yardage this year. I think it's the most yardage in the NFL. 440 yards per game they're giving up. Kirk Cousins was just more than happy to utilize his weapons and fire it around. And Alexander Madison sure stepped in and filled in admirably for Dalvin Cook. What a game he had.
Yeah, he most certainly did. He was basically Dalvin Cook. 26 attempts for 112 yards, 6 receptions for 59 yards. He had himself a massive game. And Cousins, 30 of 38, 323 yards, 3 TDs. And on top of that, the Vikings, to win this game, to really cement their win, converted 9 of 14 third downs.
Jeez, wow.
9 of 14. Yeah,
wow.
Man.
Unreal, man. Yeah, I'm not sure what's wrong with the Seahawks defense, but they've got to plug some holes. They had a hard time early last season. They sort of about mid-season, they sort of figured it out and ended up having a good second half of the year. Hopefully they figure it out sooner than this because these other teams are streaking 3-0, 3-0. 2 teams top of this division. A 1-2 start is really going to be tough to start making up ground. Russell Wilson had a pretty good game, 298 yards through the air and a touchdown. But I don't know. Tyler Lockett had quite a quiet game. DK Metcalf was his favorite target with 6 catches for 107 yards and that touchdown. Carson was pretty good on the ground with 12 carries for 80 yards and a touchdown. But they weren't able to match the Vikings. And Vikings finally got their first win. I was shocked to see that was their first win after such a good performance. They looked super solid.
Yeah, and also too, I just want to point out that's the Vikings' first win over Seattle in 12 years.
Holy cow!
They hadn't beat the Hawks in 12 years. Like that's incredible. It's incredible.
That is incredible. Holy cow! That's amazing. I didn't see that stat. So yeah, I'm glad you had that out there. Yeah, man. Yeah. I don't think anybody expected the Vikes to come in there and beat the Hawks. I think a lot of people would have lost money on those bets there. So and the Vikes host the Browns next Sunday, early window. Browns are good, so it might be tough for them. As I said earlier, Seahawks host the 49ers. And then another thing was Jason Myers missed a 44-yard field goal in the game that ended a 37 straight field goal streak, the 4th longest in history. Adam Vinatieri had 44, Mike Vanderjet, the Canadian, 42, and Gary Anderson, 40. Jason Myers has been pretty automatic. He hit another one yesterday, but missed that field goal, 44 yards to snap that 37 straight field goals. Pretty great streak for him.
Yeah, no, that was an excellent streak. It's unfortunate that he couldn't get into the 40 club. He was so close.
Yeah.
But you know what? He still has time. He can go for it again.
He can do it again. Exactly. Yeah. Okay. Well, we've covered already a couple of games in the NFC North with Green Bay going to 2-1, and who else we got? Miami 1-2. The other teams that are struggling mightily in the NFC North. The Bears were absolutely just crushed. They had a total of 47 yards yesterday as they got beat 26-6 by the Cleveland Browns. 9 sacks. Absolutely, Fields was just running for his life the entire game. It was terrible. It was really tough to watch. They did not protect the guy at all, and he was just completely battered the whole entire game.
I prayed for Fields. I really did. And after seeing that, I was just like, oh man, I hope he makes it through this game without an injury. He was literally running for his life. And Myles Garrett had a huge game, 4.5 sacks.
Yeah.
He was in his face the entire time. The Browns defense was vicious. They came after him with hurt on their mind. Fields was hit 15 times in that game.
Wow.
15 times, man.
Scary.
And the amount of yards differential, 418 yards for the Browns and 47 for the Bears. 47, right? That's like, you might as well not even take the field. Why are you even there?
Yeah, it was pathetic, man. It was terrible. I don't know what the deal is, but either Matt Nagy hates Justin Fields or he's just completely incompetent, because it was like, okay, I can understand a couple sacks, 2 or 3 sacks, that happens in a game. But once the guy's getting into 4, 5, he's reaching close to double digits, like, change the scheme, do something different here. Get him to hand the ball off immediately, not just drop back in the pocket time after time after time with only 5 men protection. Like, it was like, does he hate Fields, or does he just want to prove that he was right when he said Andy Dalton's my starter and Fields will come in, later on in his career? But it was pathetic. Like, how could Matt Nagy keep his job if it was incompetence that he was doing this with? Because, like, you have to see this isn't working. Let's change it up.
Well, yeah, literally, you're absolutely right. Should have had like a 7-man package with protection and see if that could have worked for the rest of the game, because the 5-man stuff just wasn't cutting it. So, I look at this game and I think to myself, maybe this should be something that Nagy should learn from this, which is, if you keep doing this to Fields, well, Fields will end up like that guy from the Colts, Andrews, where he's just going to have to retire because he just got beaten for his entirety of his career, and then you just cut his career short. So you gotta protect that guy. You gotta give him more time. You gotta give him a chance to, like, actually look downfield, not be like, I'm just getting tackled like again and again and again.
Yeah, it was absolutely so ridiculous. Like, I've got some analysis here. There was 13 plays where he had a 5-man protection. He was pressured almost every one of those plays. 3 times they actually put a 6 guy in there. They only moved the pocket and gave a run pass option on 3 occasions in the entire game. They only designed 2 quarterback runs the entire game, which is ridiculous. 1 time they had 7 men protecting him. 1 time, and only 1 time did they have motion at the snap. It was it was just sick. Like, it was one of the feature games in the morning, and I kept flicking it back and forth, and I'm like, why the hell are they doing this? This is ridiculous. And I have a quote here from Myles Garrett. As you mentioned, he had 4.5 sacks. He said, we really actually thought they were going to roll out a bit more, kind of move the pocket a little bit. They just gave him the opportunity to just keep dropping back. And it was just awesome. It was just awesome to keep getting back there and finding him there. And I was laughing when I saw the quote from him. Like, I can't believe he must have just been like, holy cow, this is phenomenal. They're trying to get me the record for sacks in a game. This is incredible.
Yeah, Christmas come early for Myles Garrett. That's literally what happened, where he was like, I get to unwrap this guy 4.5 times. This is awesome. This is great. This is great. Yeah, but you're absolutely right, man. You should have done something different with the scheme because the scheme wasn't working. It just wasn't working. But instead, Nagy just goes, you know what? We'll just keep trying the same thing over and over again. That seems like it's a good idea. We'll do that.
Yeah, I think he's probably going to turn to Nick Foles because I just don't think he knows how to utilize Fields. I think Foles will probably start next week, and they'll try to figure out a way to bring him back. I don't think Dalton's back for 2 or 3 weeks or something. So, yeah, we better not see that again because I think they'll just send him packing and find somebody else that can utilize who they have to the best ability, because that was terrible. That's one of the worst performances I've ever seen. 47 yards on 42 plays. You can't run an offense. You're never going to win a game if you have some stuff like that happening.
No, you will never, ever win a game. And yes, some of that has to do with Fields since he's a rookie, but I'm like you. I place all of that blame on the head coach. His play calling was awful.
Yeah, it was sad. Yeah. Okay. Talk about some of the other teams in the NFC North. The Lions lost to Baltimore. We mentioned that earlier. The biggest telling play, though, in that entire game was Lions had Baltimore push back deep in their own end and 4th and 19, and Lamar Jackson was able to roll out, find his man, get that first down, march them down, and give that chance for that 66-yard field goal. Cannot believe that the Lions lost another heartbreaker, 4th and 19, and they gave up the first down. It was pretty bad.
Well, and also, too, the Lions' defensive scheme was wrong. 3-man rush? Really? So Lamar's just like, okay, well, I got a lot of time here. There he is.
Oh, man.
That's not going to work. That's not going to cut it, man. You got to put some pressure on that guy.
Okay.
3-man? No.
Yeah, it was insane. I'm super shocked. Lamar was, just kind of average, only, completed 16 of 31, 287 yards is pretty good, but he only had a touchdown and a pick. He had 7 rushes for 58 yards. His top target with Mark Andrews, 5 catches for 109 yards. Devin Duvernay had the touchdown. The Lions were, they were just okay as well. Maybe they didn't deserve this win. They really didn't do a lot through the air. Their touchdowns were scored on the ground by DeAndre Swift and Jamal Williams. Goff has went from the Rams to Detroit, and even if Goff is pretty damn decent, I just don't think being on the Lions, you're going to be able to get a lot of victories.
And also, too, let's be honest here. Goff is a step down from Stafford, clearly, right? Yeah. But at the same time, the Lions are not a very good team. So Goff is going to do what he can, but he needs help, a lot of it, like a tremendous amount of help, which he's not getting.
No, he's not getting at all. There was another halftime celebration for Megatron, who had been put into the Hall of Fame this year, but it was kind of marred by massive booing for the owner, Sheila Ford Hamp. She took the microphone and was trying to say some really nice things about Calvin Johnson, was trying to say how instrumental and great he was. The fans were not having any of it. They just mercilessly booed her, and you could barely hear what she was trying to say about Megatron. It was pretty bad.
Yeah, I guess the fan base is not too happy with the owner right now. So they tried to boo her off stage. It's like, get her off the mic.
Oh man, it was crazy. I was really shocked by it. Yeah. Detroit plays Chicago next, so maybe they get a victory there. And the Ravens travel to Denver, who's kind of a surprising 3-0. So we'll see what shakes out there. In the NFC South, the Panthers sit atop the NFC South with a 3-0 record. I bet you absolutely nobody had that bet in Vegas that the Carolina Panthers, after the first 3 games of the season, would be leading the division.
No, nobody would have had that bet. Nobody. But I feel really good for Sam Darnold, like where he just goes, I got out of that black hole known as the Jets organization, and wouldn't you know it, I'm winning. I'm winning. I'm so happy. I'm winning.
No, I know. Isn't it crazy? You get out of New York. Both New York Giants and New York Jets are 0-3. You get out of that black hole, like you say, and wow. He had 304 yards through the air. He had 2 touchdowns on the ground himself. And yeah, what a massive change. And as I said, they made that big trade today, and they've got CJ Henderson. What happened on Thursday night when they won 24-9 over Hewson was their safety JC Horn suffered multiple foot fractures, and so they needed to find somebody to replace him. Let's hope CJ Henderson can get over this groin injury that caused him to miss Sunday's game against Arizona. Yeah, Panthers look, really good. DJ Moore had a phenomenal game, 8 catches for 126 yards. McCaffrey had a bit of an off game, which was kind of weird, but definitely Carolina was the class on Thursday night against Hewson.
Yeah, well, even with McCaffrey having an off game, but luckily they were playing the Texans, so it's all right.
Yeah,
it was fine.
Yeah, I feel a bit bad for Hewson for sure. Losing Deshaun Watson, and they don't seem to have a huge amount of good defensive players, or few offensive talent, but not in the same class.
No, not in the same class at all. Like, Mills did what he could, 19, 28, 168 yards and 1 touchdown, and then Cooks had 9 receptions, 112 yards, and then that's about it. That's it. There you go.
Yeah. Panthers face Dallas the early game Sunday. Dallas is winning now with 9:22 left in the fourth, 34-14, so 20-point lead. Yeah, it looks like they're definitely going to take the division lead here. And then Texans play the Bills in Buffalo early Sunday, and Buffalo, after a loss to Pittsburgh, first game of the year, they're really rolling. We'll get to how good they are right now. I think Texans are in trouble. The Saints had a big victory. They're 2-1 now. 28-13 win over the Patriots. Jameis was 10 times better than last week. Had a couple touchdown passes. They're not utilizing him a huge amount, though. Alvin Kamara is the guy that's really driving the bus there. 24 carries for 89 yards, another 3 catches for 29, and a touchdown through the air. Callaway had a touchdown, and the backup QB Taysom Hill came in and ran a touchdown. Saints have had one good game, one bad game, one good game. We'll see if they utilize Jameis a little more through the air. I'm not sure, but it looks like Kamara is really back on mid-season form.
Yes, Kamara's back. He had a great game, and so the Saints D managed to sack Mac Jones about 3 times, hit him 11 times in that game.
Wow.
So he was hurried all game. The Saints D would not let up on Mac Jones. And for the first time since 2000, Patriots are 0-2 at home, which was actually the first year that Bill Belichick was a head coach.
Right.
The Patriots.
I see. I think I don't even think Brady was a starter quite yet. I think he hadn't made the transition. So yeah, it's been a long time. Crazy. Mac Jones, as I said earlier, the only rookie quarterback to have a victory this year, but only one. I couldn't believe how much they relied on him. 51 passes, and that led to 3 interceptions, which is always very, very difficult to overcome. Yeah, why are they making him throw 51 times? You'd think they would, try to be running the ball a bit. James White was hurt, but he's more of a guy that they're utilizing for short passes, not as much running plays. Yeah, it seems ridiculous to put your QB, your rookie QB in there and expect him to, throw it over 50 times in a game and get you a win.
Yeah, it does seem a little ridiculous, but then that just points to the fact that their running game was literally ineffective. That's why it's almost like the Patriots didn't have a choice. That's why they went through the air and they just took their shot, and unfortunately, it did not hit.
Yeah. As I mentioned earlier, the Patriots host the Bucs on Sunday Night Football. It'll be fun to see Tom Brady come back and kick their ass. And then Saints are hosting the winless Giants early window Sunday. So looks like Saints can get another victory. No trouble there. Speaking of the Giants, the Falcons beat them 17-14. From all accounts, not a really great game here, but your Falcons were able to get their first victory on the season. Matty Ice looked pretty good. Can you say the name of the guy that got the big touchdown for them? There's so many letters and vowels. It's almost impossible name to get out.
No, I'm not even gonna try. No, I saw it and I was just like, okay, you know what? Pitt's got a touchdown. That's what I'm gonna go with. That other dude, I'm sorry, man. I cannot pronounce your last name.
Yeah, it's a tough one. Even his first name, I think it's Olamide and then Zacchaeus or something. I don't know. Cordell Patterson had a great game. Seven carries on the ground, and was kind of held in check there. But Calvin Ridley, not bad game. Lee Smith got another touchdown. I feel sad for the New York football fans. It's pretty rough. Every week there's a loss in that stadium. They alternate home games between the Jets and the Giants in the same stadium. 6 losses there. Pretty rough, man. Pretty rough.
Well, the one thing that they could be happy about, not the game, obviously, was that the fact that they did retire the jersey of 2-time Super Bowl MVP Eli Manning. So that was at least a bright spot to a very bad game. Because the Giants had opportunities, but they had 2 of their 73-yard drives failed late because of a sack, mishandled snap, and that's what cost them the game. So I guess the good thing about this game was the fact that Eli Manning went into the Ring of Honor. That's your takeaway. That's your positive.
I guess that's it. Yeah, that's funny. Yeah. Speaking of the Mannings, they had LeBron James on tonight to break down some of the games. They had quite a few good guests, but LeBron James is the one that jumps out to me right now. It'd be kind of cool to see some clips of him sitting there commentating and making some observations of the game.
Yeah, it'd be very interesting. I'm kind of interested if he understands the game, to a certain extent. Anyways, I'm sure he does because he's a pretty intelligent fella. But I'm curious to see what he has to say with the 2 Manning boys.
Yeah, it'll be fun. They've been really having a lot of fun. Any of the clips I've seen, I've really enjoyed the commentary. It's been really, really great. And the Falcons host Washington next. Washington's the last team in the NFC that we'll talk about. They were thoroughly outclassed by the Bills, fell to 1-2 on the year. The Bills are now 2-0 after firing on all cylinders last week with a 35-0 shutout over Miami. And this one was a big 43-21 win. Josh Allen is just massive. 358 yards through the air, 4 touchdown passes and 1 touchdown run. He's putting his hat in the ring for MVP this year. He's looking great.
Oh, he's looking fantastic, and the Bills look like they're hitting their stride. They crushed Washington, absolutely crushed them. There was just Washington had nothing they could do. They just got crushed.
Yeah. Zach Moss had a touchdown. Cole Beasley had 11 catches for just under 100 yards. Emmanuel Sanders had a couple of TD catches on 5 catches for 94. Diggs had 6 catches. Dawson Knox had a really phenomenal touchdown catch. Just wow, what a lethal offense there. For Washington, Taylor Heineke was just okay, but he threw a couple picks. 14 for 24, 212 yards, 2 picks, but he did get 2 touchdowns through the air, and he scored 1 on the ground. Antonio Gibson had a touchdown, and Logan Thomas had another, but Washington was not in the same class as Buffalo on this day. The Bills host the Texans early on next Sunday, and as I mentioned, Washington hosts Atlanta. So turn to the AFC. We've covered some AFC matchups, but we'll start in the West, as we have quite a bit this season. There are only 2 undefeated teams now in the AFC, and they're both in that Western Conference. The Raiders have been very, very impressive. You see the jersey behind me here. This was a Christmas present to my girlfriend, who's a massive Raiders fan. Lorraine is former season ticket holder in the Raiders, used to live down there. And she was fun to watch that game with. The Raiders had another nail biter, but pulled out an overtime victory there. Very impressive start to the year for them. First time 3-0 since 2002, the year that they won the Super Bowl. And they're really, really looking strong.
Could this be foreshadowing? Could it be? I guess we'll find out. But man, they look great in their overtime win. Carr was fantastic, 26 of 43, 386 yards, 2 touchdowns. Barber, the running back there, 23 attempts, 111 yards, 1 touchdown. Ruggs, the third, 4 receptions, 78 yards. Renfrew had 5 receptions, 77 yards, and a touchdown. Yeah, man, they were hitting on all cylinders. But the Dolphins came to play, though. They didn't make this win easy. At all.
That's true. Yeah, I was impressed. After Tua went down and they named Jacoby Brissett his replacement, I thought Miami was going to severely struggle, and they didn't look good last week. But Brissett looked pretty damn good, and really helped them be in it right to the very end.
Oh yeah. Brissett looked good, and his favorite receiver to hit was Gesicki, with 10 receptions for 86 yards. The Dolphins came to play, man. They really did. But unfortunately, they just didn't have enough against the Raiders.
Yeah. Jalen Waddle also had 12 catches for 58 yards. Pretty impressive. It's wild to see. I just saw a little bit of a different halo there.
Weird.
That was weird. Yeah. Okay,
there we
funny. So the Raiders play the Chargers next Monday, who's obviously sharp off that Chiefs victory yesterday. Miami hosts the Colts. So we'll see if they can give the Colts a run for their money there. The team that's tied with Vegas at 3-0 is the Denver Broncos. I don't think a lot of people would have thought that the Raiders and the Broncos were going to be the ones that were 3-0 to start the year and leading this NFC West. They pitched a shutout against the sad sack New York Jets, 26-0. Kind of had an easy time of it, really.
Yeah, they really did. The Broncos dominated. Von Miller got his 4th sack of the year. Johnson had 2 more sacks. and a sack each for Shelby Harris and Malik Reed. Their defense really stepped up and just shut the door on the Jets. Bridgewater, 19 to 25 for 235 yards. It was just, they just beat them badly. They just beat them into the ground and just kept beating them. Yeah.
Exactly, yeah. They were dealt a bit of a blow, though. KJ Hamler, one of their wideouts, was hurt, and he'll miss the rest of the season with a torn ACL. So I expect them to maybe look at the waiver wire or pull off a trade and try to get some other wideouts in there. It's tough when you only 3 games in lose a guy to a torn ACL for the rest of the year.
Yeah, it's super tough, and it's hard to replace that guy and his productivity. So they'll probably make a move and try to get something off of, like you said, off the waiver wire.
Yeah. New York just struggled everywhere. Nobody did anything really. I feel sad for Zach Wilson there, and yeah, it's going to be another year where they're hoping to get a high draft pick, I guess. The Jets host the Titans. Doesn't look like a chance at a win there. Denver hosts Baltimore in that late window on Sunday. The team that's third in the AFC West are the Chargers, who pulled off the biggest upset of the weekend and knocked off the Chiefs. Justin Herbert absolutely outshone Patrick Mahomes. He had 4 touchdown passes, and his big target was Mike Williams, who had 7 catches for 127 yards and a couple TDs. Keenan Allen had a TD. Austin Eckler was great as well. Had a touchdown there. Fantastic to see the Chargers doing so well. You and I talked about it last year. We just saw them so close, so many games. We just really thought that this was going to be the year that we would see them emerge and be one of the top teams.
Yeah, and they're turning the corner. Like last year, there would be no chance that they could beat the Chiefs. I would say that very confidently. This year, completely different story. And here they are beating the Chiefs. But the Chiefs didn't help themselves. Too many turnovers. Like Mahomes played well, but 4 turnovers, 2 committed by Mahomes, 2 interceptions. Even though he did have 3 TDs, 260 yards, you have 4 turnovers like that against a really good team. It's going to be really hard to beat that team. Yeah. Really, really hard. And also, too, the Chiefs have been exposed to a certain extent. You can't always depend on Mahomes to always bail you out. At some point in time, the defense will have to step up and do their job. And what we're finding as the season is going along is the Chiefs' defense is not very good.
Yeah, it's shocking. I think they've given up the most points in the league right now, and they're really struggling. Yeah, it's going to be shootout the entire year, and Mahomes is probably not going to be able to win them all. He played pretty good, but 4 turnovers. Usually when you're dominating on that side of the ball that much, you're going to pull out the win. This is crazy to see the Chiefs last in the West. This is the first time since week 6 of 2015. First time since they had a losing record, week 10 of 2015. First time consecutive losses since week 6 of 2019. And Mahomes getting interceptions in consecutive games hasn't happened since week 15 of 2019. The other thing that emerged after the game was Coach Andy Reid started feeling quite ill, said he was suffering from some dehydration or something, had to take an ambulance from the stadium to the hospital. But great news today, he was released from the hospital. By all accounts, he seems to be back. A little scary there for everyone involved. He's had a tough go of it with his family and some health troubles, but really good to see that he's been released, and they think he actually might be back in the building tomorrow. Okay,
that's good news, because it's always scary when something like that happens and the coach is rushed to the hospital. So it's encouraging to know that he's going to be all right and that he's healthy right now. He's settled.
Yeah, since Mahomes and Andy Reid's been there, they've been perennial winners. Very, very Tough team, one of the best teams in the league, and it's really surprising to see them struggling a bit. All thoughts were on Andy Reid's health. So glad to see that he has been able to get released from the hospital, and everything checks out. KC also had a big news today. They signed Josh Gordon to be a receiver. Great move if he can stay out of trouble. He's had a lot of trouble staying out of trouble, and he's had some substance abuse issues over his life. He is an incredible weapon, but he just doesn't seem to be able to keep it together. Hopefully this opportunity will finally get him to get stable and just play some football and enjoy KC. It's a great team to go to.
Yes, and if he can keep it together like this, because let's be honest, this is his last shot in the league. This is it. Yeah. And if he can't keep it together, there's going to probably be no more shots after this. So I wish him the best of luck. I hope that he can stay on track and stay focused and just keep it to football, man. Just keep it to football. Yeah. Because if he can, he's going to help this team tremendously.
Yeah, he sure will. As I said earlier, the Chargers host the Raiders Monday Night Football 1 week from tonight. The Chiefs go to Philly to face the other team that's playing tonight. So short weeks for both those teams. Let's see. We've covered the entire AFC East already through all the other games. Buffalo leads the division 2-1. Dolphins and Patriots are 1-2. And the Jets are at the bottom of the division 0-3. We have covered some of the AFC North. Baltimore sits at 2-1. Cincy also sits atop the division at 2-1, and they beat the Steelers. They send the Steelers to the bottom of the division. And after the Steelers had that huge win against Buffalo week 1, they've come crashing back down to earth. And all today I heard is Big Ben's too old. He should retire. He's just doesn't have it anymore. Week 1, they were saying, "Oh my God, he's so great. What a team." And 2 weeks later, he's out the door. They want to put him out to pasture. These overreactions just happen way too often in the NFL.
Yeah, they do. And you look at the stats, it's not that bad a game. Like he's 38 for 58, 318 yards, a TD, but 2 picks. But it's not that bad. It's not like he should be put up to pasture immediately. But unfortunately, the Steelers are not playing great football at this point in time. They are not. And the Bengals are. Joe Burrow was fantastic. 14 of 18, just 172 yards with 3 TDs, with 1 interception, but 3 TDs altogether. And the Bengals controlled the line of scrimmage for long stretches on both offense and defense. That's where they really won this game, was at that front line there.
Yeah, Steelers were definitely missing TJ Watt. Huge loss to not have him in there, and that stopped their rushing attack or their pass rush. The Steelers need to address and try to get some better ground game. They've been trying to figure that out in the last few seasons, and that's really been one of their crazy troubles. 58 passes from Ben. 58, like what the hell? That's way too much. They got to have a bit of balance there. Najee Harris, he did carry the ball 14 times, but he only had 40 yards. But they threw to him 19 times, and he caught 14 of them. That was crazy to see. I think that's been the most targets in about 5-6 years for a running back. 19 times he was throwing the ball. He had 102 yards through the air. And our guy from Abbotsford, Chase Claypool, had 9 catches for 96 yards. Great to see the Canadian still one of the top weapons that they utilize.
Yeah, I know. It's great to see him still being successful for the most part, but unfortunately the team is not enjoying the same success as he is. Yeah. So, and then also too, Burrow found his favorite receiver, Mr. Chase, 4 receptions, 65 yards for 2 TDs. Yeah,
he did. Yeah. Yeah, that does seem a bit of a distant memory, that win for Pittsburgh over Buffalo, but hopefully they can, bounce back. They have a really tough task next week against Green Bay, and the Bengals as I said, host the Jags on Thursday, so not as tough. The last game and the last, the AFC South last game that we want to touch on was Tennessee. They sit top of the division now. They had another massive game from Derrick Henry. He's just such a weapon, and they get the big victory. Looking really, really, really solid, that team. Really great on offense, and a hard team to beat when Henry's just rumbling through the through the defense like this.
Yeah, 28 attempts for 113 yards. He had a great game. Tannehill, 18 of 27, 3 TDs, two with 2 interceptions though. Tennessee just really controlled the game, put the game away, going on a 14-play drive, chewing up 70-22 of the clock in the fourth, which really cemented their win, with Bullock hitting a 32-yard field goal at the end there. So Great win by the Titans. And the Colts, I don't know if they could go with Wentz, because they were very limited in their offensive selection because of the fact that he's playing with 2 sprained ankles, which is actually pretty incredible that he can play.
Yeah, I was actually surprised that he did play, but they probably don't have much options behind him, so he was out there. But the Colts didn't have a lot to offer, and took the loss. 0-3, sitting down at the bottom of the AFC South with Jacksonville 0-3, Hewson 1-2. I think Tennessee is going to run away with its division this year. It's going to be an easy walk in the park to the playoffs for them.
Yeah, I believe so too. With looking at their schedule, looking ahead, the Titans have a favorable schedule going forward.
Yeah, they do. Yeah. Phenomenal week of football as always, man. I'm enjoying the NFL this year. It's been really, really fun to watch. So many tight games and a lot of great stories. Dallas is a minute away from taking the victory, 41-21 as it sits right now. Dallas will be first in the NFC East. So, okay, I mentioned Abbotsford with Chase Claypool. Did you know that there is a huge game in your hometown, Abbotsford, BC, Canada, tonight? Did you hear about it?
No, I did not.
The Abbotsford Arena is full to the rafters. Biggest crowd they've ever had there, because they are hosting a game between the Vancouver Canucks and the Calgary Flames. Pretty exciting that Abbotsford is going to be able to have their home fans get to see the hometown Canucks and get to maybe hopefully kick some Flames ass.
Yeah, okay, so it's a preseason game, and that's awesome. That's awesome that they're hosted, that they get to host it out there, and people don't have to drive into Vancouver to see. They just can just rumble on down the road, and then that's fantastic, man. That's great.
I'm excited for them. I'm so excited to see the Abbotsford Canucks out there this year. I plan to go to a bunch of games, and I'm really happy that they honored them with a game with the top team, the NHL team, and that's great. The Canucks lost last night 5-3 to the expansion Seattle Kraken. The game was played in Spokane, Washington. There was a big crowd there for cheering on the new Seattle team. It'll be, it's kind of wild. Flames have always been sort of their biggest rival geography wise, but Seattle's closer. It should start creating a big rivalry, especially if Seattle can be competitive this year.
Well, if they can just do what the Vegas Knights did, then they'll be very competitive. So we'll see. But I've always thought that Seattle should have had an NHL team years ago. They should have.
I know.
Because geographically, it just made sense. So I'm just glad that they now do have a team and they're in the NHL.
Yeah, it's fantastic to see, and it makes me feel like we might get the Sonics back in Seattle, and and finally, have that arena filled with the NHL and NBA. Let's really, really hope. Speaking about the world of hockey, I want to give a shout out to Jim Hewson, the longtime Hockey Night in Canada play-by-play man. He's in the Hall of Fame. He was a guest of this show last year. He decided to retire this week. He made the announcement. Good luck, Jim. Good luck in your retirement. Thank you so much for being a guest on our show. And I hope to see you in the community at any hockey events. And I just wish you nothing the best. I appreciate you coming on and giving me your time. And also for all the great games that you've called over the years that I've had the pleasure to watch. It was an amazing, amazing career. And you'll always go down as one of the legends in the sport. Thank you so much for everything and good luck.
Yeah, a legendary career by a legendary broadcaster. Just nothing but mad respect for that man. So enjoy your retirement. Enjoy the rest of whatever you decide to do, because you've earned it, my friend. You most certainly have.
Yeah, definitely. And you and I watched a retirement ceremony as well on the weekend. We saw Justin Morneau get honored by the Minnesota Twins before the Blue Jays game the other night. Really great to see the Canadian gets such an amazing ceremony. There was tons of old Twins players there. He entered into their Ring of Honor and was really treated well. It was great to see the new Westminster boy get his just due and be considered one of the greatest Twins of all time.
Yeah, he really soaked it up. Like, he talked for a long time. he went on for a bit, but hey, he earned it. He earned the right to do that, and it was cool to see Justin Morneau get his just desserts.
That was great. Yeah, it was so great. I'm really hoping that he'll come on. He's a former neighbor of mine and friends of friends, and really love to get him on as a guest and talk about that ceremony and his amazing career. Okay, let's finish the show off with the NBA. Quite a bit of news came out today because today was media day for all these teams. Lots of stories emerged because some players did not report to media day. The biggest story so far is that Kyrie Irving did not make the trek into New York because he is unvaccinated, refusing to get a vaccination. And this will stop him from playing all his home games and some road games this season. It'll definitely hamper the ability for Brooklyn to chase that title that we said they were probably favored in the Eastern Conference to get. And Kyrie just seems to always have some controversy following around. There's always just stuff coming from him, but really not a good showing so far as they are trying to assemble for a training camp and get ready for this upcoming season.
But am I surprised? No, I am not. I am not surprised. I understand that, making the choice to get a vaccine is a very, very personal choice. I get that. I understand that. But at the same time, I would think, since you're getting paid a tremendous amount of money, that you have a certain responsibility to the team and a duty to the team as well as an employee of said team. So with that being said, I do not see this being resolved anytime soon. I think, if anything, Kyrie Irving will dig his heels in and will definitely not get this vaccination. So what will the Nets do with that going forward? I don't know. Maybe they make a deal. Maybe they trade for Ben Simmons. Who knows? But at the same time, they have other superstars on that team, and would KD and Harden, would they even allow that? Would you piss them off too as well?
Yeah, that
wouldn't be good either. So I think the Nets are in a very, very tough position, so to speak.
They sure are. Yeah, it's really not a good way to start the season, and surprising that we're having to hear about some of these stars that just refuse to get it. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar really came out and slammed the unvaccinated players, and he said the NBA should mandate that they have to get it vaccinated, or they just can't even play whatsoever. The state of New York said that no unvaccinated player can play any games. So any of the games he plays in Brooklyn, any of the games they play in against the Knicks, the Nets, or any of the teams locally there. Also, San Francisco has that mandate. Toronto has that mandate. Will not allow unvaccinated players across the border to play the Raptors. So he's really cutting into the amount of games he can play. And they were talking about extending him this offseason. They haven't done that quite yet. He was eligible for a 4-year, $182 million extension. And I don't see that extension getting signed unless he just does decide to get vaccinated and put this distraction behind him.
Yeah, so you can't pay a man that much money if he's not going to be able to play. So it is very counterproductive. You just can't pay him that. You can't pay him that. So, and it doesn't look like Kyrie is too concerned about making that money, like, at all. Yeah. He's more concerned with making sure that his stance is felt and heard. So, yeah, again, the Nets are in a very, very tough situation.
Yeah. I don't know. This is unprecedented territory, so I'm not really sure if they're going to be able to withhold some salary if he won't play. We'll see what happens there. James Harden was also eligible for a contract extension this offseason. He can sign a deal for 3 years, $161 million. If he waits the rest of this season and becomes a free agent, he's eligible for a 5-year extension. So we'll see what shakes out. He can probably make a bit more money, but he did make an announcement today. It's not about money at all. I just want to win. So we'll see if that's the case, if he's really being honest there. A couple of the other players that are unvaccinated, there's a small percentage. I think they said it's about 10%. But Devin Booker, Bradley Beal, and Andrew Wiggins were the 3 names that sort of jumped out to me. I was really surprised with Booker and Wiggins, especially. Not really with Bradley Beal, but it's going to be tough for these teams. Their stars are refusing to get vaccinated, and they won't be able to play in many of the games. I don't know what they can do. Like you say, maybe they make a trade. I don't know. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah, because even if you make the trade, well, that team that gets that player still has the same problem. It's like, oh, well, you can't play in a lot of our games, so this is great. So I don't know. I don't know what the answer is, and I don't even know if the league can make them do it at this point in time. I don't think there's anything in the CBA that says they can. So I don't know. I don't know what the answer to this conundrum is.
Yeah,
it's something that will have to be worked out as the season goes along, and then we'll see. Because I know that the union is always going to be on the players' side, so they're not going to make their players do anything they don't want to do.
No kidding. Yeah, exactly. Klay Thompson is supposedly on point and should be ready for opening game of the season. That Andrew Wiggins distraction with Golden State is there, but great to see Klay Thompson finally looking like he's going to be able to play after missing a couple seasons. Somebody that won't play right away is Zion. He had foot surgery yesterday. He had a broken foot in the summer, and he broke his 5th metatarsal on his right foot. And so they're thinking he might be ready for a regular season start, but hampered through this preseason with injuries. Last year, he had some bad thumb injuries, has struggled with knee injuries. This is a guy that might struggle his entire career with injuries, just with the body type he has and the way he plays.
Yeah. So, the organization is going to be very, very, very careful with him. So they're not going to be rushing him back at any point in time. They're just going to take their time, and then he comes back when he comes back. If anything, they'll probably give him more time to recover than less.
Yeah. Ben Simmons says he's not reporting to camp. He was absent today at media day. They're pretty concerned about that. They didn't expect it, they said. Lots of his teammates have been trying to convince him to come and play and just be there until a move is made, but he refused to come.
Yeah, that seems untenable. That situation right there in Philly seems very much untenable. I think Simmons is digging his heels in. They're going to find him to hell and back, obviously, but I don't think it matters to him anymore. Yeah. And the longer that he stays away from the team, the less trade value he has. So he's really putting the 76ers in a very, very difficult situation. Daryl Morey is just going to, eventually, I think he'll have to capitulate and he'll have to move him because, or he'll get literally nothing for this guy.
Yeah, nothing. Crazy. It's tough, very tough for them. Yeah. Michael Porter Jr. signed a big deal today, 5 years, $207 million extension with the Nuggets. Jamal Murray will not start the season. So they really needed to get Michael Porter Jr. under contract. And great deal for him. He has been that third option. Will probably have to be that second option until Jamal comes back. Yes.
And you know what? Well earned. That's a well-earned extension. He played well. He's played well in the playoffs. And he's still improving. My only concern with Michael Porter Jr. is his health. And as long as he can stay healthy and stay on the court, all is well. But I really do hope that he is taking his health and his well-being and is keeping himself in shape at a premium. That's a priority for him because it has to be.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Speaking of health, Kawhi Leonard will not start the season. They don't think. He's still recovering from his injury troubles. And there was some odds that came out today from Caesars Sportsbook, the odds to win the MVP of the NBA this year. And guess who is the favorite to win the MVP in the NBA this year?
Kevin Durant.
Luka Doncic.
Oh, Luka. He's made the leap. Third year in MVP.
Yeah, that's what they're saying. Giannis is second best odds. Kevin Durant is third. Joel Embiid fourth. Steph Curry fifth. LeBron James sixth. Damian Lillard seventh. Nikola Jokic, the defending NBA MVP, is there, and then Booker and Trae Young. So a lot of superstars there, a lot of amazing players. But I was really surprised to see Luka as being that favorite to win the MVP.
I guess a lot of people think that he's going to make yet another massive leap, but he's really good. So it's definitely not out of the realm of possibility that he wins MVP for sure.
One of the audibles that was played yesterday, I think this was Derek Carr in the Raiders game. He steps up to the line and he looks around and realizes he can do a play audible. He started calling out Damian Lillard. Try to take a guess what type of play Damian Lillard is.
Pass play.
Yeah. A long pass play.
Yeah.
A deep pass play. And that's what they did. They threw it really, really long and deep and completed the pass. Kind of wild to see. Tonight I'm watching the game between Dallas and Philly, and they started yelling out, Bob Ross. And you know what Bob Ross is famous for?
His artwork, right?
Right, yeah. And so guess what the play was? A draw. So that's actually that's pretty wild. I don't think the defense caught on quite quickly enough and realized hey, what is he gonna, why is he saying that name? What would be the play call? It was too late. They pulled off the draw. But yeah, pretty wild to see those two names yelled out as audible.
No, I love the fact when the teams have fun with it, with their audible play calling. Like it's just it's cool for the fans too as well.
Oh yeah, super cool. Okay, UFC. We haven't covered UFC. We went really long here, but let's cover the UFC a little bit. Amazing UFC 266. We mentioned that we got together and watched it. I really can't wait to dig into it, but I do want to mention two things before. The UFC had their International Fight Week this week, and we had the UFC induction ceremony, and George St. Pierre, our favorite Canadian, one of the biggest reasons why we're big, massive fight fans, and great to see him finally inducted into the UFC Hall of Fame. Long deserved, and what an extraordinary career. Super great to see him finally get his due.
Yes, obviously, yeah, fantastic to see him get in. Just a legendary career by one of the most well-respected fighters in the UFC, or formerly of the UFC, and it makes every Canadian happy to see this guy succeed and to see him get his respect that he's due by getting into the Hall of Fame. Was a champion at the welterweight for so long, and then became a champion again at middleweight. He did everything as he went through his career, and I couldn't be happier for the man. I really couldn't.
It's awesome. I'm gonna just share a little thank you that he had on the podium there. I've got a little clip that I'll draw up here. Let's check it out. Yes, here it is. Okay.
Oh,
is it gonna play? Always fun, hey?
Yeah.
Technical difficulties.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Thanks to the fans. I have the best fans in the world, and they have been loyal to me and for what I stand for. They stuck with me even when I took my 4 years off from fighting. I especially want to thank the fans in Canada. Wherever I fought in Canada, I could feel the love in ways I never thought possible. Merci.
Yeah, just a short clip, but kind of nice that he did acknowledge his Canadian fans and how much he was supported, and he felt the love from them for his entire career.
Oh yeah, of course. He's like, I guess you could say, our shining star in mixed martial arts, and he just represented Canada, the best of Canada at all times.
Yeah, so it was a fantastic night, but some crazy story emerged after the ceremony. John Jones and Alexander Gustafsson had a phenomenal fight years ago. It was put in the Hall of Fame as one of the greatest fights of all time. And for some reason, John Jones didn't really celebrate. He ended up that night getting arrested, put in jail. Again, this is just an ongoing thing with this guy. And you'd think that he would have just been super happy, would have celebrated with his friends and family. Then he would have went home back to his hotel room and crashed out for the night. But 5:45 a.m. he gets arrested for domestic battery and damaging some vehicle. And here we go again. This guy just does not seem to know how to stay out of trouble.
No, he does not. I believe Dana White has already come out with his comments saying that the man's got some dark demons, and he most certainly does. On a night where he should be celebrating the fact that, you know, he got into the Hall of Fame and this is a great honor. He didn't honor himself. What he did was the exact opposite, and he put himself in jail. Like, where you just have to wonder, well, how does that happen? How do you get from this point to that point? That doesn't make any sense to me. So he clearly needs some professional help. Hopefully he gets it. Yeah, that's all I got to say.
Yeah. Yeah, I looked at a bit of his history. It's just crazy. He was arrested for driving while intoxicated in 2012 after he crashed his Bentley into a telephone pole. 2015, he was charged with hit and run. 2019, disorderly conduct at some kind of strip club in Albuquerque with a fight with a waitress. 2020, aggravated drinking and driving and use of a firearm, and he's failed multiple drug tests by USADA, forced out of the UFC 200 in 2016. 2017, he received a 15-month suspension for drug test that was positive. He's only fought 8 times in 8 years. His last fight was February 2020. Man, this is one of the guys that most people consider one of the greatest fighters in mixed martial arts history and the UFC. Yeah, just cannot stay out of trouble. He has 2 brothers who have been in the NFL. One is retired, one's still playing, and I haven't heard any of the rest from these 2 guys, but just that record there just is brutal. It's so tough. I can't believe that a guy can't figure out how to stay out of trouble.
Yeah, the only person that can beat John Jones is, I guess, John Jones, and he's really good at beating himself, like really good at it. So he could have had possibly one of the greatest careers we've ever seen, ever. But unfortunately, because of all these things that he's done to himself, we're not seeing that, and it's a shame because as fans we've missed out.
George St. Pierre, a complete opposite, never got in any trouble, just an exemplary, humble man, phenomenal career. And then we got John Jones, same induction ceremony, 2 of the most complete opposite human beings that we could ever have. It's too bad. I really wish that there was more guys like George St. Pierre to represent the sport well, and less guys like John Jones that just doesn't seem to know how to conduct himself in the legal way. And tough, but let's focus on the UFC 266, which is a phenomenal card. Fight of the night went to Alexander Volkanovski and Brian Ortega. Phenomenal 5-round battle that really was super exciting throughout the whole entire fight, especially the 3rd round when Brian Ortega had 2 submission attempts that were super close to finishing the fight, and Volkanovski came back and finished that round, beating him on the canvas where Ortega was almost not even able to continue. But what a hell of a fight. What 2 huge warriors, and Volkanovski keeps his belt with a big decision victory.
Yeah, because the first 2 rounds were an absolute, like, they were fighting in a phone booth. The combos that they were throwing were, they were things of beauty. They really were. Yeah. And then in that 3rd round, that was Ortega's best chance to win that fight. I want to say, since I had Ortega winning the fight, that he was literally centimeters away from locking up that first guillotine choke when he knocked him down with the left hand. And he was, I swear, he was so close. Volkanovski, being the champion that he did, powered out of that. And then a little bit later on, Ortega was able to chain it into yet another submission attempt with the triangle choke, which was deep. And again, I thought, oh, he got him this time. And he almost wanted to tap, but again, battled out of it like the champion he is, ended up on top, rounded, pounded. And I could tell that Ortega was definitely dazed at the end of that round. I believe that was the round where Herb Dean had a long look at Ortega to say, okay, anybody in there? Anybody at home?
Yeah.
Are we going to be good?
Yeah.
And he let it go. But after that point, that's where Volkanovski really took control of the fight.
Yeah, he sure did. Yeah. They both got $50K for fight of the night bonuses. But Volkanovski came out over the weekend and said that he was really mad that Herb Dean gave Ortega such a big opportunity to get himself back. He said he talked to him way too much. He asked him questions that he wasn't even answering, wasn't looking in the right direction. He said he actually saw that his corner helped him up off the mat to get him back onto the stool. He said that he saw Herb and the doctor ask Ortega 4 questions that he answered wrongly to. So how do they evaluate that he could continue? It was when I looked at it again, he was right. Ortega wasn't looking properly. He was really looking super dazed, and he didn't answer the questions the right way. It was really shocking that Herb gave him another chance.
Well, it's a good fight, right? So, I guess there's certain things you're just gonna, let's pretend like none of that happened. Get in there and win the fight. All right, let's do this.
Yeah.
But you're absolutely right, man. Like, if you do these things, then you're going to actually have to do them the right way. You can't just ask questions and be like, okay, so what state are you on? Wyoming? Nope. How old are you? Did you say 78? Nope. If you're going to do these things, then, and if their job is protect the fighter, which it is, then you're going to have to protect the fighter. Yeah. Possibly, hey, we saw the same fight. I thought, he doesn't look right at all. He just doesn't. But at the same time, he went out there and he fought.
Yeah.
He's probably going off muscle memory, but cool. We got to see.
Yeah, it was shocking. He's tough. These guys are tough. We say it every week, but he probably shouldn't have been allowed to continue that because he was pretty dazed and confused. So, the co-main event had Valentina Shevchenko defend her belt again. Lauren Murphy obviously outclassed. We all knew this was going to be the case. Valentina and Amanda are, 2 elite fighters in the women's UFC, and nobody seems to be able to compete with them except each other. She finally got a knockout victory late in the 4th round and continues on. Lauren Murphy is a great fighter, but just not in the same level.
No, not in the same level, not in the same dimension, not in the same strategy. Yeah, so basically Shevchenko beat her at everything that's mixed martial arts. Landed the crisper power shots with both her hands, her feet, legs, took her down at will, but was still cautious because Lauren Murphy is still a dangerous opponent. Yeah. So it took her to the 4th round to finally take her out. I kind of think if she had stepped on the gas more, it could have been sooner. But, she fought her and she took her time dismantling that her opponent.
Yeah, she sure did. Yeah. The fight that sort of garnered the most interest going into this card was the return of Nick Diaz from a 6-year hiatus against ruthless Robbie Lawler. And this didn't disappoint. Another 5-round fight. This was supposed to be held at 170 pounds, and Nick Diaz said, "There's no way I'm getting down to 170." About 3-4 days before, he said, "Nope, we're fighting this at 185. Cannot make 170." And you and I observed Nick Diaz looking chunkier, looking more moon-faced than we had ever seen him in our lives. Really surprising that he wasn't able to get in tip-top shape, but he still had a really good performance. Super fun fight while it lasted. He seemed to finally fall to a shot by Lawler, hurt his knee, couldn't continue. But fun fight. I was really glad it did finally happen.
Yes, it was. I was a little bit worried because pre-fight, some of the comments that Nick Diaz was making is a little worrying. Yeah. Where you're just like, okay, is he into this? Does he want to win? But you know what? Once he got into the octagon, well, he's still a Diaz, and he still fights, man. So they fought in a phone booth for 2 rounds. That was some of the best stuff I've seen in a long time. That was a great fight.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, when it came to the third, Lauder got that shot, knocked Diaz down. But I guess as he was falling, he must have hurt his knee, maybe heard something pop. And so he was just unable to continue. Kind of sucked that the fight ended that way. I've never seen a fighter that won a fight more dissatisfied as Robbie Lawler was.
Yeah.
He definitely did not want to win the fight that way, but he gave Nick Diaz all the respect that was due. Loved his warrior heart and spirit, and it was a great fight. Post-fight, Diaz was actually interviewed as well, and well, I don't know what he said. So yes, good fight.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that was kind of crazy. They shouldn't really very often talk to the losing fighter. That's not going to usually turn out very well. And I think Joe Rogan always had that policy is, no, if it's a losing fighter, I usually stay away. He did interview Conor McGregor on the ground there, but I haven't seen Joe Rogan do that very much. But the heavyweight battle between Curtis Blaydes and Jairzinho Rozenstruik was, just a formula. Blaydes just took him down, was able to hold him down and grind out a victory. I think Blaydes is the best at takedowns in the UFC heavyweight division, and was able to use his advantage in this fight and get a big win.
He went through the path of least resistance, which is, I'm just going to grapple this guy and get him to the ground so that he can't hurt me with strikes on his feet. And that's what he did for 3 rounds straight. And Rozenstruik, unfortunately, his takedown defense was not up to par to Blaydes' grappling. And there you have it. Blaydes with an easy win against Rozenstruik.
Yeah.
Very easy.
Speaking of easy, I also thought the Jessica Andrade was able to easily handle Cynthia Calvillo. Jessica is another one that's really on a different level. She seems to just be such a pit bull, testosterone pumping through her body, and she seems to overmatch these women that she faces for the most part.
Well, this fight was your typical power versus finesse, and power won big time. She just completely outpowered her opponent. She was very good at making the octagon very small for Calvillo, where all of a sudden she didn't have anywhere to go.
Yeah,
she was trapped, and then once she trapped her, she really put a hurting on her. Once she hit her with those power shots at the end of the first round, hurt her, and then just kept hurting her until the ref had to dive in and rescue Calvillo, and that was the end of it. Now, I wanted to say, Jessica Andrade, first woman, 20 fights in UFC.
Yeah.
Second most wins behind Nunes, who has 14. Andrade had 13, and second most finishes for Andrade had 7, and Nunes had 10. So fantastic. She's had a fantastic career and continues to have a fantastic career.
Yeah, she's up there definitely. I mentioned Nunes and Shevchenko as being, really elite and higher and above. But then there's that second tier, and Andrade is definitely right in that second tier and has had an amazing career. And I think, will for many more years to come. She's an elite fighter. The feature fight on the prelims was probably the comeback of the year. Marlon Moraes had Merab Dvalishvili in all sorts of trouble, had him flopping around the ring like a fish out of water, and was super close to having this fight finish. And Merab came back in the second round and got a massive knockout victory. What a hell of a comeback. It was incredible to watch.
I'm going to say this about Dvalishvili. His cardio and his endurance is almost superhuman, because he took some major shots and was actually able to recover enough in the first round where he got dropped and it looked like it was over. By the way, I give the referee all the credit in the world for letting that fight continue. And then at the end of the first, ended it with ground and pound, and had a dazed Maurice going back to his corner, which is just absolutely incredible. If you saw how that first round was going, and you're like, oh no, Marav's in a world of trouble here. But then he got out of it. He grinded it out. Like, guys like that, you have to knock them completely out, or else they're just going to keep coming at you.
Yeah.
They're just going to keep coming at you.
That was amazing. Yeah, that was an incredible comeback. All the credit in the world to the ref. 99% of people would have stopped that fight because it looked like there was no chance of him coming back. But he got $50K for that comeback victory, and well deserved. An amazing performance to come back there. Dan Hooker had a nice decision win. That was a great fight to watch. Do you want to make any comments about that one?
Well, yeah, I just thought that Hooker, it's the efficiency with the way he fought was impressive. Yeah. He took what was given. But the one thing that he did do was he took the center of the octagon and had Haqparast fight him on the edges of said octagon. So he had more of the control. And when he took his takedowns, he kept him down, and he would not let him back up. It was a great win by Hooker. And even in the clinches, when he did have him up, he utilized his knees really well. It was a dominating performance by Hooker.
Definitely, you're right. Yeah. The other $50K bonus went to Chris Dawkins for his big KO victory. Couple of knockdowns, ground and pound, and was able to get his 4th straight stoppage win. These Dawkins brothers coming into the UFC and really dominating. Look out, heavyweight division. He's for real, and he's tough, and he's going to get a lot more knockout wins in his career. He's fast and he's strong, and this looks like a contender for years to come. Yeah,
I've never seen so much spittle fly out of a man's mouth from being hit by a punch. That's the kind of power that Dawkins brings to the table, though, and a very, very efficient, dominating win by Dawkins.
Yeah. We didn't see much of the UFC early prelims. Matthew Semmelsberger took out Martin Sano 15 seconds into the fight. Crazy big early TKO, and that was sort of the feature of the early prelims. But a fun night. I'm super glad we got together and watched it. I enjoyed myself immensely, and I can't wait to do it again.
Yes, I did as well. And maybe next time we'll be able to get some other of our friends will be allowed to join us. Well, if their significant others allow it, we'll keep our fingers crossed.
Exactly. Yeah, we sure hope so. It would have been great to see some of the other guys out. I like getting together with a big group, but it was nice to see you and Keith, and we had fun. It was really, really cool. Looking forward to this card coming up this weekend. Thiago Santos and Johnny Walker, 2 Brazilians having a big battle against each other. I'm leaning towards Santos in this one. Johnny Walker's tough, but I think he's still too inexperienced to take this victory.
I'm going with the guy that has a hammer on his chest. Yes, I'm going to go with Santos. His power is no joke. Yeah. No joke. So that's what I'm going for. And my favorite fight of this card, we just talked about the one Dawkins boy, so it's time to talk about the other. Kyle Dawkins, Kevin Holland. That's going to be the fight of this card. I am super looking forward to that fight. As soon as I saw that fight, I go, oh, yes. Oh, this is great matchmaking right there. Great matchmaking by 2 guys on the come up. I'm super excited for that fight. Super
excited. Me too. Yeah, can't wait. That's going to be amazing. I'm glad we get to see the Dawkins brothers back-to-back weekends. Welterweight fight between Alex Cowboy Oliveira and Nico Price will be really good. We got the Canadian Misha Serkinov facing off against Krzysztof Jotko. Great to see Aspen Ladd in there. there's going to be a ton of good fights on this card as well. The feature fight on the prelims is Joe Selecki and Jared Flash Gordon. We've got Shevchenko also on this card, Antonina Shevchenko, Valentina's sister. It's looking great from top to bottom. I'm super excited, and really great to see another good fight night from the UFC Apex.
Yeah, I'm super excited as well, especially like the main card, considering it just followed up after UFC 266, is very strong.
Yeah.
It's quite strong. So I'm looking forward to a great night of fights again.
Nice. Okay, man. Well, this was fun. Stretched it out a little bit longer as usual, but lots of great things on the weekend. I'm glad, as I said, we got together. We got to have some beers, got to have some UFC, and obviously some great NFL football, and lots of stories emerging from the NBA. It's going to be fun. I can't believe we're on the cusp of some NBA preseason games already. This is a great time of year for sports.
Yes, it is. And it's going to be even better once the NBA starts in October. And then it's going to be a lot of fun. Oh, I love October. I love October so much. I can't wait. I can't wait. Super excited.
Yeah. Okay, man. Well, enjoy the rest of your evening. Have a great week ahead. I got one more day off, so I'll pretty sure I'll be texting you a little bit through the day. Any emerging sports stories. And looking forward to talking to you a little bit later on in the week.
All right. I am looking forward to that as well. So I guess don't work too hard tomorrow. I'm actually going to be working very hard tomorrow, but you take it easy. Okay.
Okay. Thanks, buddy. Cheers. All the best.
Cheers.
Bye for now.
Bye-bye.
Okay. Thank you as always. What another great episode that was. Tons of fun. So nice to see Jason twice in 2 days, or 3 days, I guess you'd have to say. Saturday, Monday. Just want to do a shout out to our partners and sponsors, and let's just quickly, let's see, how do we pull that up? Okay, it's not there. So yes, of course, we've got great partners and sponsors. Anchor FM, the easiest place to make a podcast. Fantastic for posting on multiple podcast platforms for us. Verbero, the hockey industry and apparel company. And we've got Forever Living, the aloe vera company for health and beauty products, and Pampas and Possibilities. Check out our website. All the details are there. Support our partners and sponsors as always. And tell your friends, tell your family. I hope you enjoyed yourself here. And lots of podcasts coming in many different areas. Go to completemedianetwork.com and find your passion on there and support us. Really look forward to talking to you soon. Have a great week ahead. Love you lots. Take care of yourself. Bye for now.